Hello, and welcome to another edition of The Voice Crying in the Wilderness, number 57. Today's subject will be rulers. I'm going to start in First John 3, verses 7 and 8. Little children, let no man deceive you. He that doeth or practiceth righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. He that committeth or practiceth sin is of the devil, for the devil sinneth from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of God is manifest, that he might destroy the works of the devil. So at this point, we can see that Satan was a sinner from the beginning. So where or when was the beginning? The Bible states that in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So when was Satan created? It is said that he was the first angel created. His name was Satael, then Michael, then Gabriel, then Raphael, then Uriel. So in the beginning would be the time in which creation was being created. It is written that the ends of the names of the angels represent their relationship as sons to God, but by the EL at the end of their names, such as Michael and Gabriel, Raphael, as God's name is Elohim. So in the beginning, Satan was a sinner and a murderer and a liar and a thief and a destroyer. So let's look back at the first lie and the first murder, in which was with Adam and Eve in the garden. Satan first lied to Eve concerning the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or let's call it deception. And then the act of eating the fruit, which produced death. So Satan lied and actually killed them, in which would be considered as the first murderer. John 8:44, Jesus says, "You are of your father, the devil, and in the lust of your father you will do." He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode or stands not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar, and the father of it, or creator of lies, and the creator of hostility between him and God, and between God and man. And most of the time, he does it without getting his hands dirty, so to speak. He uses his horde or army of demonic spirits to do his bidding. Think about this. God describes the world as to have 7 heavens, and within each heaven resides rulers and authorities and principalities and powers governing the realms in which they exist. And God is the chief authority over all realms and heavens. But there is a constant war going on in the heavens. It seems like the objective is to protect the human race until the redemption of the life paid for by Christ is redeemed. So we are constantly attacked by those rulers of wickedness of the darkness and constantly being protected by God's army of heavenly angels. These rulers are called out as words like death, in which Satan had the power over. But Jesus, in Romans 6, verse 9, knowing that Jesus, being raised from the dead, dieth no more, death hath no more dominion over him, or any of us, if we believe in him. These rulers of the darkness, ruled by the prince of the darkness, constantly battle God's angels in the heavenlies, and constantly war against the mind of man, but seemingly under the supervision of God. I've always wondered why God just didn't get rid of him, and then to find out that he was the first angel created started to make more sense. Can you imagine God's feelings towards that first thing of its kind that he created? That he would turn against him, as also did Adam, the first thing of his kind, did also disobey and or turn against God's commands. So let's look at Job, Job's story as God supervises the devil. Job chapter 2, Satan obtained permission to attempt. He gained permission to tempt Job, and again, there was a day when the sons of God, meaning angels, came to the presence to present themselves before the Lord. These are the angels reporting the deeds of men, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord, constantly accusing the brothers of why they should be damned as he is. And the Lord said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down it, as a roaring lion, I presume. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect or blameless and upright man, one that feareth God and shuns evil? And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest or inciteth me against him to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin. Wow. But put forth thou hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life, meaning do what you will, but don't kill him. God says, And Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord, and smote or struck Job with sores and boils from the sole of his feet unto the crown of his head. So the rulers have only the authority that God gives them, and they are constantly reminded of that authority by the guardian angels of God. But they are rulers, and they do have authority. They have the power over the air, power over the waters, thunder, and lightning, tornadoes, hurricanes, fire, and hail, but limited power, in which was taken by Christ when he was on the cross in the 3 hours of darkness. Christ left that cross and descended into Hades and made a mockery of Satan and the rulers and the principalities and the powers. And he rescued all the saints of God. And he also rescued Adam. And as a request from Michael the archangel. In Luke 23:44, and it was about the 6th hour, and there was a darkness as thick as ink, you should believe, and the darkness of hell was over all the earth until the 9th hour. Jesus accomplished everything on the cross. He conquered death in the grave. For therefore all was completed, as he cried out with a loud voice from the cross, "It is finished." After 3 hours, so when he, so we can see how Satan rules and how he has rulers with powers, and he has his horde of demonic angels, in which are also created by God and rebelled with Satan, and were cast out of heaven down unto the earth, and to have taken over the first heaven, being the earth, and the second heavens, meaning space. For there is a constant war between the first heaven and the seventh heaven, where God is. The angels are created beings who are servants of God. The word angel means messenger. They have great power, but they are not omnipotent. They have extensive wisdom, but they are not omniscient. Their number is great, but not limitless. Adam was made a little lower than the angels, as was Christ, but Christ is greater than the angels. A number of benefits derived from understanding the ministry of the angels. When we realize they are constantly observing our Christian lives, we will improve our conduct. When we understand that they protect us, we will appreciate God's care for us. When we consider their strength and ability, we will be encouraged. And when we can see their example of unceasing service to God, it should motivate us to be more consistent in service for God. Now, these rulers and authorities and principalities are under the rule of Satan, but under the control of God. And God only lets them know what he wants them to know. Remember, if the rulers knew in 1 Corinthians 2 verse 8, which none of the princes or rulers of this world knew, for if they had known, Christ had to die to save the world, for they had known it, they would have not crucified the Lord of glory. But afterwards it was made known unto them through the church, Ephesians 3 verse 10, to the intent that now unto the principalities and the powers in heavenly places might it be made known by the church the manifold or many-sided wisdom of God, in which was a mystery since the beginning. Some believe that Christ was hidden in the righteous angel Gabriel, right in front of our faces and the rulers' faces, but hidden by the mystery of God. Thank God for his revealing of the word, Christ Jesus. For in him dwelleth all the fullness of the Godhead bodily, and we are complete in him, which he is the head of all principality and power, having disarmed or spoiled principalities and powers, he made a show or mockery of them openly, triumphing over them and blotting out the debt owed by man's inability to keep his obligation of obedience to God. Ephesians 6, verse 12. So therefore, put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand against the wiles or schemes of the devil. For we wrestle not against the flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in high places. Thank you.